Hi everyone, I'm Roseanne Portia from MAP System, and it's my pleasure to present to you today Pillars of Marketing. I want to welcome you all today to this webinar. In this webinar, I will give you the insights to marketing so that you can create an awareness with your clients about what you do and therefore help to generate more business and more clients. So what is marketing? What's all the hype about? We need to market our business. Marketing is all about creating interest, curiosity, and grabbing or getting the attention of your clients and any prospective clients that you might market to. It's a way of letting people know what you do, it's a way of adding value to them, and it's great for personal branding and for business branding. Marketing helps you elevate your status as that trusted advisor even more. And it makes you seen as the expert to your clients and those. We need to look at marketing strategies that you can implement to help your business be more profitable. I've been studying marketing and business growth strategies and principles for the last 5 years, and I've absolutely immersed myself in learning everything I can about marketing, and I want to share some of that with you today. Marketing is an area that most brokering businesses know they need to focus on, but perhaps don't focus there as much as they would like to. Whether it's because they don't have the time, whether it's because they don't necessarily know where to begin. It's one of those functions that is part of your business, it's part of the sales cycle that you really do need to take some attention to. So this webinar is designed to give you some insights of where to begin and why marketing is so important for your business. And just for those of you who don't know me, I'll just give you a little bit of background about myself. I've been in the finance industry for about 12, nearly 13 years, and I've also owned and operated my own business, which was a retail and service business. Now that employed around 12 staff, so I had to do the marketing, I had to do the sales, I had to learn all of that. And in about the last 5 to 6 years, I really immersed myself in business coaching, mentoring, training, and very much in sales and marketing. That's where I have a passion, and certainly that's where a lot of businesses do need their focus. If you notice the slide there, it says top businesses, and this is businesses in general, not just specific to the finance industry. Top businesses will put 80% of their focus into sales and marketing. Now the reality is that most businesses I know, they'll put 80% of their focus into the fulfillment, into the writing the loan, the processing, the compliance, etc. Because that's just the nature of the way the business is, and there's just so much involved in fulfilling that. I completely understand. But I want you to perhaps embrace the idea of marketing and understand that it really is a very important factor in your business so that you can be even more successful. And if you start to shift your focus and perhaps work on a marketing campaign or a marketing strategy, you really will reap the rewards. And what you want to do, today we're talking about pillars of marketing, and the reason for that is when you do market, you want to have a few approaches. You don't want to just rely on one stream of marketing. And you'll see there's 4 strong pillars in the picture. And today we're going to talk about 6. And certainly there's far more than 6, but I've chosen the 6 that I feel really do relate to the finance industry, so that it's, you know, more targeted and more suited to where you guys are all at the moment. So with the pillars, if we think of it in terms of having the strength in our business and having different ways of targeting not only our existing clients but also prospective clients, because that's where you really do get your growth. You want to be able to target your existing clients, of course, and then additionally you want to really be able to capitalise on new clients. So you want a strong foundation. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, let me give you a brief outline. We're going to discuss online marketing. You might like to call it web-based marketing, but essentially it's done through a computer. Okay, we're going to talk about direct mail marketing, and that is physically posting things out. Okay, it's actually one of the most underutilised forms of marketing in current times. I was recently on a webinar myself, and the people from the US, where I do a lot of my training from the guys in the US, they actually said that people are getting bombarded with emails these days, and they may and may not read them all as thoroughly as they should. And some people, and we all do it, sometimes we just hit delete because it's so easy and we really want to clean out our inbox. But if you get something in the mail, what they're saying is that generally most people just get bills and catalogues in the mail, so it kind of stands out more. So definitely something to think about and something we'll be having a good chat about today. Then you've got the telephone marketing, the probably most underutilised form of technology at the moment. Then you have strategic alliances, your financial planners, accountants, etc. And we'll talk about those and how you can really capitalise on those. And then the idea of joint ventures. Not all brokers immerse themselves in joint ventures, and that's okay, but here's some ideas and some thoughts and some concepts to expand your thinking and possibly make you decide that, you know what, you want to go down that joint venture area as well. And then there's referral marketing, or some people like to call it word of mouth marketing. That's an area that I'm very passionate about. And in fact, there's a whole webinar on that because there's so much you can do from word of mouth or referral marketing. It's so very powerful for your business. So we'll be touching on that as well today. So as I said, we've got these strong pillars. If you look at the slide there, you'll see that there is sort of a diving board effect where there's one area of strength holding the diving board, and then you can see that there's potentially areas that are lost. There's areas that are unsupported, and that's why I'd like you to really start to embrace having a few streams of marketing within your business so that you can capture the people who don't necessarily open their emails. Perhaps you'll post them something. You can capture the people by phone. There's a number of different ways so that you don't miss out in sending your message across to as many people as possible. So now we get into marketing, and I guess everybody knows about advertising. Advertising is where they tell you all the features, and then, you know, they want you to buy something or sell, you know, it's time for a sale. What we've discovered in most recent marketing, the style is called education-based marketing, EBM. And what that means is it's time to educate your clients. They prefer that. You want to get them to feel really comfortable and responsive towards you, and you want to provide them with even more value. Certainly you give them value when you're face-to-face in your interviews, but what about the businesses, the clients that perhaps didn't convert? If you can keep in touch with them, and if you can educate them, give them information, or create awareness around a particular topic or something that you're doing that's new in your business, then that can spark interest. And as we said earlier, it's about creating that curiosity in people so that they think, I want to know more about this. And you're the go-to person, you're the trusted advisor that can help them. And when we do our education-based marketing, we focus on what's in it for them, all the benefits for them. So unlike the traditional style of advertising, which just says, we're so great, we can do this, we can help you here, we can help you there, it's actually the reverse. It's all about the benefits to the client. And if we do state feature, we back it up with benefits. So we don't just talk that an offset account is great. We'll say something like, it saves you money, and then you'll tell them how it can save them money and why it's very good to have. And that way it's more powerful than just saying, we can offer you an offset account, because it actually gets the client to really engage in what's in it for them and what that means for them long term, which is saving money, paying less interest, and everybody wants to know about that. So the education-based marketing then goes into another stream. So the sort of the subheading or the subcategory of education-based marketing is really, the formula is educate, educate, sell. So we still want to be able to advertise, and we still want to have people coming to us, but we want to give them value first. And now more than ever, we're in the information age, where at our fingertips we can Google anything we like and get as much knowledge and information as we choose. Now, that's great. However, I'm sure you've all had the experience where you've had, gung-ho clients walk in your office and it's almost like they know everything because they've done all this research online. And in some cases that's terrific because they're well educated and they really do know what they are looking for. But in some cases it can actually work against the client because they'll think that this particular loan and product is suitable to them, and yet when you go to look into it, well, their financials haven't been done or something else. So they're not now suitable to this particular product and rate. They're looking at LODOC or something else, for example. So wouldn't it be better if you educate your clients, if you are the starting point for that education so that they're not going online, or if they are, they're going online in addition to the information you're giving them. So the formula is educate, educate, sell. And what that means is then you get the opportunity, after you've educated your client a couple of times and sent them something really powerful, really valuable, something that's going to interest them, then it's time to give them an offer. Then it's time to say, well, we can help you in this regard, or we're doing self-managed super funds now. If you'd like more information, call us now, or come to one of our evenings. So that's the formula. Educate, educate, sell. It creates the perception from the client that you're very knowledgeable, that you're very experienced, and that you're doing something different to a lot of the other businesses out there, and that's really powerful. When you get to the point where you are in the selling phase, so you've educated once, you've educated twice, and now it's great. You get to say, okay, come and see me or book an appointment. You need to have some form of a call to action. And that is a, call now, reply to this email. Sometimes if you're very technically savvy, you might put a link to your website which might have a downloadable report or something like that. Or, you can put in where you capture the person's detail and they can ask a question and then you can phone them back. So you want to have a call to action which prompts the person, that you create so much interest that they opt into your offer, okay? And you want something fairly compelling so that they think, oh, that's really interesting, I need to know more about that, or I don't have that, or I don't know enough about it. So you create some interest and then get them to register, and then you can certainly follow up with phone calls, etc. So call to action is really important. So how do you get started? Let's get into those 6 that I've briefly outlined. Let's discuss them in more detail. Internet marketing. You've got the webadvertising, the web marketing, online, e-marketing, all of that. That comprises, of course, of emails, e-books, articles, reports, information brochures, newsletters, and more people are getting into webinars. So let's talk about those in a bit more detail. Something as simple as sending your clients an email of how they're going and is there anything you can help with. But when it's personalised, it actually has a bit of impact, and you can certainly do that very easily, and it's very cost effective. That's the great thing about online marketing. It's so cost effective. It's really just your time and effort, and then you can hit send, and it's fast, effective, and you can capture and send information to hundreds of people, however many are on your client base. You might think that there was a good article that was sent to you, an industry article perhaps, or something in the Financial Review. You might want to cut that out, scan and email it to your clients and say that you thought they might be interested. You might have some information brochures about your business, about your client, about your products and services, even to the point where you can put who we are, or your team, a photo of your team and a little bit of information about them. People love to know who they're phoning up and speaking to if there's more people that are part of the team than just yourself, and usually you're the person that will interview them. But it doesn't hurt to just give them information about your business, and always leading back to the benefit to them. Okay, newsletters are becoming far more popular in recent times. Now the reality is not every client will open those emails and read them from cover to cover. Some do, which is great. but that's okay. It doesn't matter. The fact that they see an email coming in from you, they see the subject header, and that will help them determine whether or not they do want to open it. So that is probably the most important part of real estate, if we can call it that, on an email. It's that subject header, because we've all done it. We'll look at a subject header and say, oh, that's interesting, I better open and read that. Or we'll look at something a bit more ordinary and think, oh, I'll get to that one later. So if you are going to do the online marketing, then you really do need to have some thought go into the subject line and make it a little bit creative from time to time. Webinars are getting more and more popular. If you're bringing in a new service, for example, you're starting to go into the self-managed super fund area, or maybe you've got a lot of clients that are in the first homeowners group, that is a perfect opportunity to have a webinar and get those clients involved and let them understand all that's involved in that particular style of service and that particular style of loan, so that they can be better educated. You've got Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and they're all great ways of getting particularly your personal brand and your business brand out there. Blogs are quite good because it's like you are writing an article, and you're again perceived as that trusted advisor, and clients really love that. So they're just some of the ways that you can market online. Then we go into the direct mail, which is basically, you know, hard copy. It's a little bit more expensive, of course, because you've got the paper, you've got the envelope, you've got the stamp. However, because people are more than likely going to open it, it's really powerful. A very, very powerful way of getting your message across. So you can send the similar things that you sent in the emails. And for example, you may send something that related to fixed rates. You could reshuffle the paragraphs, reword it a little bit, and send the same sort of piece as a direct mail piece. People need to see the same message over and over again. I don't know if you've ever heard of the KFC, as in KFC chicken, rule of 7. In marketing, we are taught that KFC did so many extensive researches, huge amounts. And what they discovered was that if they were going to advertise on television, they needed to get their message across at least 7 times in the space of a couple of hours in order to promote and prompt the person sitting there watching TV to remember KFC and either get out there and then and go and buy some fried chicken, or within the next day or next couple of days. It's sort of embedded in the client's mind. So if KFC have to send 7 lots of advertising to us, then we have to as well follow a similar rule. It may not be 7 necessarily because you've got longer than 30 seconds with your clients, but we do have to reinforce the message and keep sending your clients information, even if it is on a similar theme, but perhaps in a different style. So you can send out information packs and brochures. Maybe you're going to invite them to an evening or a seminar. You can post some reports, RP data reports, reports on the market, the economy, reports on interest rates. People love receiving letters or emails about whether the RBA is dropping or increasing rates. They're always very popular. And the birthdays and thank you cards, they're always received very well by the clients, particularly if they are handwritten. It's even more that personal touch. You can post vouchers to your clients. You can encourage them to come to have a wealth coaching session with you, or pop a couple of vouchers in there and say maybe you'd like to pass them on to some of your friends and generate more business that way. What you want to do is just get their attention. Chunky mail. Now this is one of my favourite areas of marketing because it's actually quite a lot of fun. And I know you're looking at there thinking, Rose, what are you talking about jelly beans for? But just bear with me. We did a campaign with a group and we sent out jelly beans, and the heading on the letter was, it's time to sweeten up the structure of your home loan. And then the body of the letter went into what the current promotion was and how they could sweeten up the structure of their home loan. I mean, you could even say sweeten up your superannuation with the self-managed super fund. There's lots of different things you can do and have a bit of fun. We sent one to, there was a report that we created on whether you should fix or stay with variable. It had the benefits of both and it had the possible challenges of both so that the clients could make a very clear decision for themselves. But we sent the Robert Timms, they have that good quality coffee and it's individually wrapped. So we popped that in the letter and said with a little Withcom slip, while you're reading this, perhaps you might like to have a coffee. And again, it was just an attention grabber. Some toy cars, you could put in a very small little toy car and say something like, do you need a personal loan? Or do you need a car loan? And actually, if that's your promotion or if that's your campaign of the day, send out something fun like that. You can purchase these from a lot of the party shops and $2 shops. They're not very expensive. You perhaps wouldn't necessarily send them out to all of your clients if you've got a very large client base, but you could strategically target people that perhaps you haven't seen for a while or that you just think, I'm not getting much response with those clients via email, let me try something in the chunky mail area. We had an idea with rolling a dice. We sent some dice in with some letters and the heading was roll the dice and see how many investment properties you may be able to own. And that was inviting people to come and have, there was two campaigns. One was inviting them to come to a property investing seminar, and that did really well because it just captured their attention. The other one was inviting people to come in and have a one-on-one session to discuss their borrowing capacity, to discuss the opportunities that present with investment properties. The balloons one, recently, as you all know, the banks had a bit of a rate war and the rates were going down and there were $1,000 cashback offers and $700 cashback offers. So the letter that went out with a couple of balloons in it said something like, the banks are reducing rates and offering cashback. It's a time for celebration because you might save some money on your mortgage. Contact us today. And that created a lot of fun and people just rang up and said, you know, they loved the idea of the balloons and they it captured their interest, got them curious as to what they could discuss. So it was really, really powerful. Then we move on to the telephone. And the telephone with SMS and email, sometimes we don't probably use the telephone as much as we could or should because we rely on the other meetings. People play phone tag. It's hard to get in touch with clients always when you want to, when you need to. So it is definitely easier to send an email. However, the phone can work very well for you. You can just, I believe that you should phone your full client base at least twice a year. Now, if you personally don't have the time to do that, that's fine. You can get, you know, a good bubbly telemarketer in and that person can make the calls for you. And the great thing is if they're based in your office and you need to speak to them, if the client says, oh, actually, I want to speak to you now, then you're available. And I can tell you we did a campaign, we got a great girl in to do some phoning for a broker, and really all the broker wanted to do was to get his CRM up to date. And we scripted it in such a way that if you haven't seen, let's call the broker John for this example, if you haven't seen John for a while, you know, maybe you'd like to come in and have a meeting with him. Well, just that initiative, and the young girl, I think she was paid $25 an hour to ring through the client, that generated between $500,000 and $750,000 worth of business. So 2 to 3 mortgages a week for the whole time that they did that, which was about 6 or 7 weeks. So this broker was generating all this extra business purely because he got someone on the phone to connect with the client, engage with them, and certainly update his client base, which was very important for him. so that he could go on and do even more marketing. But he was very surprised by the level of business that he generated by doing that. So please do embrace the phone. More recently, I did a campaign with one of my brokers, and in about 5 weeks, he generated $50,000 worth of upfront commissions based on getting on the phone and having a really good script. We've done promotions where the broker has wanted to do a property evening, and we've got 20, 30 people in a room, and then of that, there was about 6 that purchased properties based on that campaign. So please don't underestimate how important it is, even just to ring your clients and say hello and let them know that you've got a new service. How's everything going? And what's really popular at the moment is sending SMSs for happy birthday, and that can all be automated through your computer if you don't want to physically have to SMS people on the day of their birthday. That's very automated and very easy to do. We then get on to the subject of strategic alliances. And when you talk about strategic alliances, some people will say to me, Rose, where do I even start with finding a strategic alliance? And I always suggest to them, speak to your clients first and foremost. Because if you can get an introduction from your client, and the reality is, how often do you have to ring a client's accountant for more information on their financials or to get copies of group certificates, etc.? So you can start creating a relationship. You could get your client to introduce you and discuss how you can both refer business to each other. If you've already got strategic alliances, then I suggest that you catch up very regularly, and perhaps even to the point where you sit with the accountant or financial planner in their office and ask them to make some phone calls of, say, 10 people that you can contact and get their names and numbers, and then ring them afterwards yourself and offer them the opportunity to, have a financial strategy session, or perhaps a mortgage minimiser meeting, and show them how they can reduce their debts and pay their home loans off faster. It's really powerful to actually get with the strategic alliance and actually ask them to introduce you to people as a proactive approach, so that then the reactive clients that you get, which you're not necessarily aware of when they're coming, you'll just get a phone call that says, hey, can you speak to my client? Or perhaps you'll receive an email. And so I call them the passive style of generating business. But if you want to be a bit proactive, you can certainly do that. And I would be catching up with that strategic alliance possibly every 2 weeks in order to make sure that you've got plenty of people in order to contact. So definitely something to think about there. The other thing that's underutilised is mobile bank lenders. Now, the reality is the mobile bank lender can't always place every deal. They've got one bank, one credit policy that doesn't always fit every client. If you created a relationship with some mobile bank lenders, and also you'll see the next item there with bank managers, they could actually refer deals to you because they can't place them anyway. So why not have a relationship with them? You've always got the real estate agents, which I hear mixed results, but still they can work really well for a lot of brokers. You just have to work that relationship, definitely. And solicitors are now becoming more and more the strategic alliance to contact, because the solicitors are getting into marketing and emailing their clients with newsletters, etc. So you could be featured perhaps in one of their newsletters, or maybe there's a link, or you could even write an article about an area of finance that's a concern to people, and they can either contact you directly, name, number, email address underneath. So solicitors are very good as well, because they're really there to look after their clients. And when a client is instructed by a solicitor to go and see this particular mortgage broker, it really holds a high regard. There's a lot of trust and respect there. So the quality of clients you'll get would be the loyal ones. So definitely something to think about there with solicitors. Joint ventures are an area, when I talk to brokers, and I've in my career as a BDM and what have you, I've met with hundreds of broker businesses. Joint ventures is one of the areas that they don't necessarily focus much on. So I thought that it would be valuable for you to know a little bit more about what you can do with joint ventures. Some brokers that have embraced it might go into their accountant's office and say, look, I'm sure that there is a heap of clients that you haven't seen for a while. Let's get together and create a campaign and really give them a complete overhaul of all of their finances. You do the tax, get that all sorted out. I'll look at their mortgage, their structure, whether we need to do debt reduction, consolidation, and that works brilliantly. So you would base yourself in that scenario, you would base yourself in the accountant's office, maybe a week or two every quarter. The accountant would set up the appointments. You probably do dual appointments, and more than likely you would split the revenue, or maybe the accountant might say, I'll keep all the revenue that relates to the accounting, you keep the revenue that relates to the mortgages. But the beauty of that is you're generating new clients and you're leveraging off somebody else's database, and that's really, really powerful. Some brokers I know will base themselves in the joint venture office one day a week, and their appointments are already set for them. So that broker, for example, knows that he's going to see 4 clients in that day or 3 clients in that day, whatever the case may be. Large firms and factories are really good for JV partnerships, and a lot of people don't think about that. They don't think of, you know, getting into contact with the school or a hospital or a factory and perhaps going and speaking during the lunch break about the different services that you provide, and maybe even basing yourself there one day a week where people can come and meet with you and have discussions, or handing out flyers, that sort of thing. And the large companies that tend to be office-based, big HR and IT companies, things like that, it's great if you can get in and advertise on their intranet sites with a link to your website or information about you and your business and what you provide. They're great ways of adding to these pillars so that you're not just focusing on internet and emails or just focusing on a newsletter. If you can start to adopt multiple streams and multiple pillars, that will strengthen your business, and you really will grow very quickly by doing that. So then we get into client referrals, and that's one of my favourite areas. I've in fact written a book on client referrals, so that will be coming out later, and it's specifically designed for mortgage brokers to help you get more business through your existing clients who already have trust in you. They value what you do. Getting client referrals is such a great way of knowing. It's great feedback for you, knowing that you're doing a terrific job for your people when you get these referrals that they're just like a little gift, having a referral sent to you, and you know that they're so much easier to close because of the relationship you have with the person that's referring you. It's the most cost-effective way to grow your business, and statistics will tell you that the clients who are referred to you are 82% more likely to remain loyal. So they stick longer. They're actually 25% more valuable to your business because they will embrace if you suggest that they need to see a financial planner or they need to look at other areas in addition to what they originally came to you for. So client referrals is a very powerful way. And if you think of it this way, if every one of your clients referred you to one person who became a new client, you would double your business in such a cost-effective way. Definitely something to think about. I ask my brokers to hold an annual review meeting every week with the purpose of addressing, yes, their client needs. Are there any gaps? Is there anything we can help you with? But also with a secondary purpose of asking them for client referrals. And you can do this so easily. One of the most neglected tools that the aggregators have put so much effort into creating for brokers is the good old loan calculators, showing people how to pay off their mortgage faster. And we see them every day, and we probably think, oh yeah, they're good and they're great to know, but the reality is the average customer, your clients, have no idea of the impact of paying an extra $10 a week on their mortgage or $100 a week on their mortgage can actually have to the bottom line. We in the industry know it, but the average client doesn't. So what if you held, for example, an annual review meeting and there were no gaps, everything was fine, the clients were very, very happy and you gave them that fabulous peace of mind, which is a beautiful thing. And what if you additionally said, hey, I'm going to walk you through this calculator and I'm going to show you how you could be saving some money off your loan. If you put an extra $100 here, that might save 4 years off your loan. It might save you $50,000 in interest. They're really important and valuable conversations to have with your clients. At the same time, you could even say to your client, is there anyone else that you know, family, friends or colleagues, that would benefit from having this conversation and from me taking them through this loan calculator to show them how they can reduce their debt? Invariably, you'll get people say, yes, absolutely. And either they will refer you those people themselves, or they may even give you names and numbers to contact, or maybe you can ask them to send that client an email or contact them first and let them know that they went through this really cool calculator and guess what, I'm going to save $37,000 on my loan because I'm going to put an extra $20 a week, which $20 a week doesn't sound like much, but when you add it up, and it could potentially be $37,000, depending, of course, on the interest rate, the loan size, etc. You know how to work the calculators, but it really does excite the client to make them move to action. They all know that if they pay more money off, they're going to reduce their debt, but they don't necessarily know how much and how powerful it can be. So definitely something to think about with your client referrals. So now let's talk about putting it all together. What I always suggest, if you want to do well in any area, you need to have a bit of a plan. And I think that once a month is an ideal time to connect with your clients, whether you're sending them out an email, a letter. If you're sending out a regular newsletter, then I would probably suggest that you send that out, as you always have, and then you send something else additionally, maybe every second or third week, in the other forms that we were talking about, whether it's through a phone campaign and you make the call, whether you send a letter. It's really important to have a plan and to be very structured in what you're doing. You want to rotate the different styles that you discussed. So as I mentioned earlier, even if you've sent an email about the 3 mistakes people make when considering a construction loan, if, for example, that is your area of expertise, and what they need to know before they go ahead. If, for example, you sent that in an email as a PDF attachment, maybe you could print it off, redo the wording a little bit, and send it also as something that they physically post and open. Okay, so you want to get that message around as many times as you can, bearing in mind that KFC rule of 7 that we spoke about. Okay, when you want to target both existing clients because they're very valuable to your business, you also want to target prospective new clients, and that might be through some of your strategic alliances. You might want to do a campaign, and I highly recommend that you do a campaign, say, once every quarter. And maybe it's a campaign that relates to investment properties and educating your client about the value of investing in property. You might tell them the stats, and here are the real stats. 1% of Australians will be financially free. To retire on $50,000, you need at least $1.3 million in net assets just to retire on 50 grand. And then one of my favourites is the Canberra University statistic, which tells us that 86.6% of Australians will retire on $18,000. And when people hear that, that alerts them to, oh, I need to know more about this. So that's, you know, part of the call to action. It's a very important headline or statistic that's true and accurate, and it calls people to action to say, well, I don't want to be part of that alarming statistic, so I need to learn more, I need to know more, and that's how you help generate your business. The other thing that's really powerful is case studies. You can do a case study, for example, that might, instead of telling people that I can debt consolidate and I can refinance and I can do all this, the more powerful way when we're educating a client is to say something like, you might send out a letter or you might send out an email. Dear John and Mary, I just wanted to tell you about my clients, and they were in a situation whereby they had a mortgage, they had 3 credit cards and a personal loan. And that was 5 repayments each month, and they were finding it really hard to make ends meet. So what we did was we consolidated everything for those clients, and now they only have 1 repayment a month, and guess what? We've saved them $246 a month, or whatever the dollar value is. They feel more control of their finances, and they're very grateful to have that extra surplus income. If this sounds like you or anyone you know that might be in this position, please contact me today for a full discussion about your finances. Something like that, where you actually tell people about what you're doing, but you put it into a little bit of a story or a little bit of the client feeling the pain of the other person. Because when you're marketing, if you can find a little bit of pain for that person and you're the antidote to that pain, or you're the answer to that pain, it's far more powerful than just saying, we consolidate debt, we do this and we do that. You make it all about the client and how they're going to benefit from it and how they'll save that $246 a month and how they'll be so much better off long term. So that's really important. Where you can as well, just as another suggestion, add testimonials. So if you're sending a report and there's an attachment or something like that, you might put at the bottom of your email a testimonial from Fred and Sarah. And if you could even get a photo of them, I know some clients don't want to go there, and that's okay, but for those that are okay about it, even if you have a little photo and you have a testimonial at the bottom of a lot of your correspondence, and especially in newsletters, it's very powerful. We all love testimonials. We all love to know what other people think of products and services, and it's a great way of just keeping that professionalism that you have high and front of mind to the client. So it's really, really powerful. So now I'm going to give you a few helpful tips. We're almost at the end of the webinar, and if there's any questions that any of you had, please feel free to start typing them in. I'll just give you some hints and tips that can help you on your marketing journey. Some of the resources that may be valuable to you, if you're thinking to yourself, okay Rose, I'd really like to send out that voucher of a wealth coaching session, but where do I begin? You can get very cost-effective graphic works done from Elance. You'll see that website there, and also Workroom. The people that bid, you basically put up a job, which might be create letterhead, it might be create a logo, even as you can go so far as creating websites and landing pages, and people will bid and give you prices for doing that job. They will also give you their credentials, and they will show you links or PDFs of other things they've done, so you can get an idea of who you're working with. But I can tell you, you will get work done for absolutely a fraction of the cost of if you have walked into a design person's office. They will charge you at least 3 to 4 times as much. So, and the other good thing is you can post a deal at, say, 8:30, 9 p.m, and the people, if you accept their bid and you accept that particular contractor, they will tend to work on it that night, and by the time you wake up the next morning, you've generally got something in your email inbox to view and have a look at. So it's actually a very efficient way as well. Particularly if you know what you like. If you want to get a website created, you could send them a few links to other websites that you like the look of and tell them where you'd like things different or any adjustments. If you like a particular brochure that you saw somewhere, you can scan and email it to them and tell them to do something similar along those lines. So a really good resource to know about is Elance and Workroom, and I've used Elance a few times and they've been good. The only thing I do suggest is that Sometimes there's a little bit of a language barrier if you do select a contractor from overseas, and you just need to be patient with that person and be very clear in your instructions. And, you know, if you do that, it's very easy to do. Some great graphic work websites. Oh, I think I'm back. Have images for any of your graphic work for any of your newsletters or brochures or promotional material. You can go to www.deposit-photos and they'll help you with any images that you might want. And they're really cheap. You'll get images for a couple of dollars that you can download, and they're terrific. The other thing you might want to consider is SendPepper, and that is it's an automated email software program. So if, for example, you wanted to send to your clients a whole series of emails, but you don't want to have to sit and physically do them for each client, you can write the email once, and it does a bit of a mail merge, and you can have them set at certain days or even at certain day intervals. For example, if you've got a new client and you want to keep in touch with them regularly, you might say that when you hit the first one to go, that then 5 days later another email gets sent, or maybe 4 weeks later or 2 weeks later, or on a particular day of the month. So SendPepper software is really terrific if you want to do email blasts to your clients and send things and not have to physically do them over and over again. You do it once, you have a template, you set it up, you choose the date when it starts, and then any new client that comes in to your client base will automatically go into that email campaign and receive them. So it's a very, very efficient way of doing the email marketing. So I just thought I'd give you some suggestions there. Are there any questions? I've got a couple of questions here actually. So how much time should I spend on my marketing? Very good question. That is a very good question actually. Time on your marketing, I would say if you could spend an hour a week on your marketing, that would be fantastic. If you're doing a quarterly campaign, then certainly you'll need a bit more time. But if you could devote 1 hour a week to looking at what your marketing is for the coming months, what the results of the last week were, and what area you're focusing on out of the 6 that I've described, then I think, you know what, you would actually be doing very well to spend that 1 hour a week. It's not a huge amount of time, but it's very valuable and well spent. I have another question here. What style should I start with? Very good question. That's a great question. Thank you. The style you should start with, I would suggest whatever you're currently not doing. So if you are currently doing a lot of emails and a lot of newsletters, then I would do something different. I'd maybe get into sending out some letters or sending out some reports or some info packs, or maybe even getting into some fun with the chunky mail, send a couple of balloons and tell them, you know, how you can celebrate together about saving some money off your loan, or whatever that theme you might be. So I would go with something that you're not currently doing, so it surprises your clients a little bit and it's not just more of the same. Yeah. Oh, this is a good question. Who do I admire in the marketing industry in the USA? Okay, yes, I did mention that I study a lot of people from the USA because that's really where it all comes from. And I would have to say one of my favourites is probably Dan Kennedy. So feel free if you want to Google any of Google Dan Kennedy. From time to time he'll give free you know, things that you can download, or you might be able to do something, look at him up on YouTube and he'll give you some great snippets of information. The other one that I really admire is Jay Abraham. Jay is terrific. He is called the $6 billion man because he's generated over $6 billion worth of revenue for people, and I really admire him. Yeah, I definitely use a lot of his strategies and principles in my marketing and when I'm educating. So definitely Jay. And the other one I have, yeah, Frank Kern. Frank Kern's very good as well. He's very much into internet only, whereas Dan Kennedy is a lot of direct mail. Jay Abraham is very much across the board, and he does a lot of joint venture and strategic alliance sort of marketing. But Frank Kern does the emails, and he's a really cool guy. He's this surfy guy that is so cool, casual and relaxed, and yet he makes millions and millions of dollars every year on the internet. So yeah, thank you for posting those questions. We are pretty much out of time, and I'd just like to invite you all, if you would like to have a free gap analysis, you can go to my landing page, which is www.mapsystemoffer.com.au, and you can register your details and you'll automatically be sent a gap analysis. Now what does that do? That will help you identify where you currently are within your business and where you'd like to get to, so that you can bridge the gap, and whether it's through marketing campaigns, initiatives, you know, really targeting more your strategic alliances, or being more proactive with your referrals and your clients, whatever that might be. But the formulas and the numbers that you do, it doesn't take very long, but it's really powerful to actually play around with those numbers and see where you are and where you'd like to get to and how you can bridge that gap. So that's my gift to you all today. I want to thank you so much for joining the webinar, and it's been an absolute pleasure to conduct this webinar with you all today. I look forward to seeing you at the next one. Thank you again. This is Rose Portia from Map System saying bye for now.